Hello! I am so excited. I just hit publish on my children's book, Wallace the Westie, The Christmas Wish. It's the first in the Wallace the Westie series. And while I'm waiting for that to actually go live, I thought I would create a video going over some of the nitty-gritty details of publishing. And so I've had some questions on Facebook and from clients and different things about, well, how do you know which categories are the best? And this is one of my favorite things about publishing and the research that goes into publishing before you even start writing is that you can know if your book is going to be successful based on other books that are successful. And so one of the questions I got was, are Christian books doing really well? That they'd heard that Christians' children's books were really popular, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to walk you through some of the ways that you can do this research on your own. So the first one is just to go to Amazon itself. And I've gone into books and then children's books. So these are all the children's books, and you can go through this and see what books are selling the best. And obviously Harry Potter is just going to be popular forever. These How to Catch a Dinosaur books are fun, or just How to Catch. I think there's How to Catch a Mermaid. Christmas books are popular right now because it is December 20th. There's How to Catch a Mermaid. And then lots of these confidence types books for kids. The Wonderful Things You Will Be, You Are an Amazing Girl, I Am Confident, Brave, and Beautiful. So you can start to see some themes of the types of books that are selling the most. And this is a great way to get started if you don't have any of the software or things like that. You can go in and look at the books that are selling the most. And at number 35 is a book about a dog, which it's number one in books about dogs. My book is about a dog, so I've seen this book a lot. And another dog book. And Eric Carle is always, really popular. So you can walk through these, but if you want to go beyond that, you can go to Publisher Rocket, and it costs about $97 to purchase this software, and it's 100% worth it. And if you don't want to spend all the time learning how to use this software, then you can hire me to do this type of stuff for you. But what you can do, so I've gone into, it has several, let me take you home. So there's several different things. This is keywords, then competition analyzer, category search, AMS. This is for running campaigns on Amazon to get your book sponsored and the sponsored type of things, so it shows up, and tutorials that teaches you how to use things. But we're going to go for now to the category search and let that load. And you can always just start by typing in a topic. So mine, dogs, right? And here, this is one of the most important things to look at is sales to number one. This means how many books do you need to sell in a day to reach that number one bestseller in your category, that coveted spot. And so I like to, you can see here, humor and entertainment, humor, cats, dogs, and animals, you've got to sell over 1,500 books to hit number one. But if you flip it around, you can see that you only have to sell one book to hit the top of the biological sciences, animals, dogs, and wolves category. And then this other one, crafts, hobbies, and home, animal care and pets, dogs, care and help. This is one that I'm going to be targeting because you only have to sell 5 books to hit number one. And to be in the top 10, this means the first page of results on Amazon, you only have to sell 1. And there you can actually go and check it out to see if the books that you that your book looks like the other books being sold, because it might not be. So these are all more dog training types of books, more nonfiction, and that is something I'm going to have to compete with because my books are going to teach dog training and all the things that are in these books, but from a story point of view, because I feel that children find that more engaging. So I'll have to see if that works, if I can compete. then going back to this, so that's one way to look at it, and you can go through and look at, I usually think, okay, how many books can I sell in a day? And I stop looking at categories once I've reached that limit. And you're always looking at, okay, does the category actually fit my book? And just all the things that you're going to be taking into account of, if people are searching in this category and they find my book, is it going to be what they're actually looking for? And are they going to click on it? And so there's so much that we can go into here, and I'm trying to keep this short. But the other thing you can do, so we're going to just delete that, and it's going to take us back to this main page. So we had questions about children's books, and there's children's nonfiction and children's ebooks. We're just going to look at children's books for now. And again, we're just going to hit this little button here that's going to tell us the least amount of books. And you can start to look at these categories that you could easily hit number 1 by writing a book that's in one of these categories. Or you can also say, okay, what books are doing the best? Which categories are selling the most? Maybe I can compete. And children's book about growing up, facts of life, family life, siblings. That's got a lot. Probably Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Yep. And Judy Blume. But also younger children. I'm a big brother. So you can start to see, oh, I love this book, How to Babysit a Grandma. So you can start to see these trends and what's doing well. And then to answer the question about Christian children's book, we can go to, okay, so children's books, religions, religious fiction, Christian relationships, that's doing well, or that you could compete with that. And you can begin to go through these things and look and see both how many books do I want to sell per day, how many can I sell per day to compete, because getting to the top of a category or results page ranking increases the likelihood that you're going to sell your book. If you are in number 1, you are much more likely to sell than even the person who's in the number 2 results position. And so ranking is very important with Amazon and getting sales and things like that. And so you want to get to the number 1 spot. You want to be a bestseller, not just because you can say, oh, I'm a bestseller, but because it helps you sell more. But also you want to find a category where people are actually looking for those books. And so there is a balance between, number of sales versus like how many people are actually looking for those types of books. And so that's a little bit about categories. We're just brushing the surface here. But then I also wanted to go to keywords, because a lot of times people aren't searching by the category function on Amazon. Let me pull that back up again. So, right, so people don't always come in here and say, oh, I want to find a book about, multi-generational families. Instead, they're going to come up here and they're going to type something in like books about dogs for kids. Oh, and look, it's giving me suggestions. And this is a great way if you don't have Publisher Rocket. You can find keywords just by start typing a keyword in, and then it'll give you all these suggestions. So we're going to say for kids 6 to 8. And there's a sponsored one. Sponsored. All right. You can start to see these results here. So a lot of times people aren't looking at the bestseller list or the category, they're just typing in a keyword. And so you want to find keywords that people are looking for and that there isn't a lot of competition for. So let me pull that up really quick. So we're going to go to our keyword search and type in books about dogs for kids 6 to 8. I think that was the keyword that we just put in. Okay, so this one says some of these books are, a little longer, 109. Average price. This is number of competitors is greater than 1,200. So there are a lot of people writing books about this topic. Average monthly earnings. And then these two right here are the ones that I care the most about. I mean, you use all the other data, but these help you pick your keywords the best. So estimated Amazon searches a month. So every month about 1,300 people are typing in this keyword phrase into Amazon. That's a lot of people. And the competitive score is telling you in a range of 1 to 100 how much competition is there. What's the level of competition? And can you compete? And so a 69, that is a moderately competitive score. You're going to have a harder time ranking for that keyword. And we can do an advanced search, and it'll bring up other keywords that we can look for that might be easier to find. Books about dogs for kids. And I've actually already done all of this. So you can see like 85, that's super competitive. And I think this one right here might be easier. Nope, that one's also. So you can also see like this keyword only has 213 searches a month, but it's also extremely competitive. And so not very many people are looking for it, and lots of people are competing for that keyword. And so you want to find a keyword that has lots of searches and low competition. So I'm going to show you, I already went through and did all this research and compiled it in a document, in a spreadsheet. And I just, put them all in here, and then I organize them according to their competitive score and then their estimated Amazon searches a month. And you can see for this one, this doesn't relate to the book that I just wrote, but it is a keyword that I will probably use because I found lots of great data that lots of people are looking for books about pet loss and grieving the loss of a pet. And not very many people are writing books about that. So watch out for a book about pet loss coming up. But here's one, puppy dog books. Almost 2,000 people are looking for that exact keyword every month, and the competition is only 2 out of 10, right? 20 out of 100. And so I went through, 3,000 people are looking for puppy books training, and that's a lot of what my book is about, is how to train your dog. This first one, not so much, but all the other books. And the competition score is pretty low. And so you go through and you pick out these keywords that you want. And why do these keywords matter? Because let me walk you through the publishing process just a little bit. So if you go to kdp.amazon.com, sign in, and you can see I just set up my dashboard for my book. And you're not going to be able to see it there because it's in review. So I've got the hardcover, which I can't actually publish the hardcover. You have to have at least 75 pages to do a hardcover hardcover book of any genre. But I'll just take you in so you can see. I put the book title, I set up a series of Wallace the Westie. This is book number 1. Put in, my name, my illustrator's name, the book description, and then here is where you can put your keywords in. And so you put in these keywords, and then Amazon is automatically going to say, okay, this book should show up when people look for these keywords, because the author is telling me that this book is related to these keywords. And depending on how much competition there is for that keyword, you might show up, on the first page of results, or you might be on page 10. And so that's why you need to pick, good keywords that people are looking for, but you don't have to fight tooth and nail to actually show up. And for this one, since it was hardcover, I was looking for keywords about hardcover books because those tended to have lots of searches and lower competition. And then again, you can come in here to choose your categories, and you'll notice these are very generic categories. When you're choosing your categories here, when you're setting up in the KDP dashboard, you don't get as many choices as you see in Publisher Rocket. So I have lots of these categories that they have long tails, and that's good to have as specific as you can get. And I've picked, this one of children's books, animals, more animals, pets, and you only have to sell 14 to get to the top of that. Or this one about Christmas, you only have to sell 21. Those, are the ones that I've picked that I wanted to be my main two, because you only get two. I already picked them, but it usually tells you you can pick up to two here. But then there's a great trick for being able to get more categories added to your book, and I can cover that in another time. But that's why I have this whole list here of all these categories that I'm going to add, and I have some for books, and then I have some for the ebooks. And you can go in and say, okay, add my book to all these other categories because they also apply to my book. And so all that research that you did using Publisher Rocket to find books about dogs and about animal care or whatever your book might be about, that will help your book be found on Amazon by people who are looking for books on your topic. So I hope that was helpful. And just a lot of publishing and self-publishing is not just about knowing, what's the most popular thing out there, because maybe the most popular thing out there is something you can't compete with, especially if you're just getting started and nobody knows who you are and you don't have an email list and you don't have a following on social media and maybe, your friends and family and your neighbor are going to buy your book. You need to have a strategy to be found by people who don't know you. And competing with people who are selling 1,000 books a day, you're not going to get noticed at all because you're going to get buried in the search results and nobody's going to find your book. So if you can show up, it's just like walking into a bookstore and the super popular books are going to be right there when you walk in, or maybe at like the cash register or in the most prominent places in the bookstore that people are like, oh yes, that's the book I wanted. They're going to be featured, and they aren't just going to be in the bookshelf, they're going to be like out there so people can see the front cover and all of that, because people want that book, and so the bookstore wants to make it very easy for people to find that. But there are so many other sections of the bookstore, and when people walk right into the front door, they're going to see that very popular book, but maybe what they want is in the children's section. And maybe it's in the children's section on Christian books or pet care or whatever it might be. And so you can make sure that your book on that, virtual bookstore shows up on those bookshelves and gets seen. And so you might not, at this moment in time, be the author who's going to have their book right on that front display table as soon as you walk into the bookstore. But you can still show up. You can still be found by the people who are looking for you. And so categories and keywords really play into that and helping you get found on Amazon.